Welcome to fall semester. I'm happy to be back. It's going to be a good semester with a lot of new material. I have spent a lot of time researching and studying art and going to exhibitions this summer, and I look forward to sharing a lot of those things with you. You will probably figure out this semester that I'm a little dog crazy, so occasionally, especially if you're in one of my online classes, you may see a dog walk behind me and or bark, and I apologize, but this is not a professional setting. This is my home. And so it's not perfect, but at least we all learned how to be online over COVID. So it did have its perks because some people still like online classes. So I teach both. So I have a long history of teaching and I have taught for a very long time. And I really love art. I really love art history. And I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of you. And a lot of you are repeat students, so I'm looking forward to seeing you as well. A lot of people send me memes, especially art memes. I love that, so feel free to email me anytime. Or if you hear about a great exhibition or a great, I don't know, an art show, a gallery show, anything really, please share. There is in all of my classes a little discussion post, and if you have a question that will help everyone else, then go to discussion and ask that question. And if I don't answer it, someone else might answer it, and that's okay. It is a discussion post, so I will really try very hard to check that frequently. You can always contact me via email as well. So again, it's ridiculous how many pictures I have of dogs. But my puppy has been a lot of work, and I've spent a lot of time this summer basically training dogs because again, I do take summers off. And if you ever see me in a restaurant or something, you probably will see dogs under the table. It's frequent. It's a definite thing with me. I do love to travel during the summer, and we were in Kauai, not too very far from Maui, which is, of course, dealing with those devastating fires. And I hope you and yours were okay. But again, I love summer. I think it gives us a great opportunity to recharge. I like to paint more in the summer. I like to produce more art in the summer. And of course, new lectures as well. I did go to a number of really good exhibitions. People often ask me what my favorite artist is. I have so many favorite artists. It's really hard to choose. But maybe one of my favorites is Hung Lu. I also like Doho Su as well. I also like Van Gogh, like everybody else. And again, it's really a tough question. But again, feel free to post your favorites in discussion as well. The Bowers Art Museum had a Ubule beaded art exhibition. Ubule means beautiful or beauty. And there was some really beautiful detailed work. And these are done with little teeny tiny beads. And so this goes until August 27th at the Bowers Art Museum. And that's in Santa Ana, just off Main Street. The Orange County Art Museum is open, and the new one is by Segerstrom Center. If you haven't gone, I strongly recommend it. It's amazing. Alice Neal was on exhibition there and is also on exhibition, I think also through August. And it was called Feels Like Home. And you see a lot of her family members in this particular work. Some of you know that I did a lot of my research in Alice Neal, so I cover her pretty well in most of my classes. But Alice Neal is an artist that was particularly well known on the East Coast, not so much on the West Coast, but that's changing, which is really wonderful. And so I do recommend it. I went to that exhibition twice. I had to. I took friends once, and once I went with my husband. This is the Broad Museum. I did go to the Broad Museum also this summer. The Keith Haring exhibition was amazing. Keith Haring is a very, very popular artist today. He started with graffiti art. He was very well known in the 80s and continues to be well known. He moved in circles like Warhol and Grace Jones and Basquiat. And he is a fascinating artist. And in some of my classes, I will offer a Haring lecture. And so Keith Haring, Art is for Everybody. It should be noted that it's really not for absolutely everybody. You would have to have a little extra disposable income to get to LA, and then also for the $15 to $22 entry fee. And that doesn't include the $20 parking fee as well. So that goes until October 8th, and it's fabulous. It was so well done. Lots of adult material that some of Haring's work is very much activist related to AIDS. And again, unfortunately, he is no longer living, but his work is pretty powerful. And so consequently, there is some not not children recommended, perhaps, material. Although I did see some kids there. And so, but it was vivid, it was great, it was a little crowded. And then when I was in line across the street, there was the Basquiat exhibition, and that was sensational as well. This is called King's Pleasure. It was extended. It goes till October 15th. And if you love graffiti art, or you like really powerful, kind of unusual art, avant-garde art, art that is maybe not particularly mainstream, although Basquiat, I think, is becoming more so. He's extremely popular today. But a lot of these works were works that have never been shown before. They are actually from the private collection of his sisters. His family inherited his works after he died at 27 years old. It did make me kind of sad going through this exhibition. And it's, I think, 4 main areas, and it's right across the street from the Broad. And so I was really excited to go. Also, the price tag, I think, starts at $29. So it's also not particularly cheap. But again, it was really, really an amazing exhibition. Now, the San Diego Art Museum is also featuring the works of Georgia O'Keeffe and sculptor Henry Moore. And that is also going, I believe, until August 27th as well. So it ends pretty soon. But it is supposed to be very, very well done. I have not been yet. I am going on Friday, but I'm looking forward to it. I love Georgia O'Keeffe. Georgia O'Keeffe's work certainly also informs mine because I love painting big, bold flowers and landscapes. And so I do appreciate her work. So this particular work is 4 by 7 foot, and it was restored, for this exhibition. And so cost $145,000 to restore it. So it's a fair amount. But this was called Spring. It had some water damage and damage from a tarantula. So, ew. But it is from New Mexico. She did live a large part of her life in New Mexico, and she lived into her late 90s. So, Georgia O'Keeffe. This particular work, I would say, is inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe. It has hung in my home for a number of years. It's large, and then I also did the one in a bouquet I did at a workshop with friends. So I'm also an artist, but I'm first and foremost an art historian. It takes a lot of my time, but I also like to do art in the summer. I did a lot of workshops this summer. The Art Affair classes were going on, and they were very affordable. Most of them were under $42. And you were there from 10:15 until around 2:15, and they gave you all materials and everything. The one thing I learned from that was to start doing studies, to do little small studies and kind of plan out your works maybe before doing the giant work. Might be a good idea. But here you can see some examples, and these were just done really fast. And I'm actually still working on the details for these. I also occasionally do murals. This was actually done for a friend. Her daughter just had a baby, and she very nicely had it on my birthday. And she's my best friend of many, many years, and so her daughter wanted some painting done, and so I went and I did it. And the the rose tree is actually a growth chart, and so just as you walk in the door, there's this rose tree in a pot, and then we did this. And this took me an afternoon, and then I went back the next day just to make a few minor changes and corrections and um, additions. I always fuss with it a little bit. That's just me. But it was really, really fun to do. And again, just born on my birthday. That was pretty cool. I also do ceramic work as well. And this, um, for a while, I was preoccupied with the idea of a woman's form and um, a pitcher or a vase. And so for a while, I worked in that. And I actually took ceramics classes at Saddleback College as well, as did my mother, who's also very talented at ceramics. Um, I try hard, and I don't nearly do as much as my mother does. Now, this is actually my Alice in Wonderland teapot, and gosh, I can't even tell you how many molds I did. It's got some hand building on it. The roses are hand built, and then it also has some little some hand building on the base, and then you also had some chess pieces that I used as molds to add to it as well. This took a while, and this was actually done in a Saddleback class. And again, other things that I've done all over my house, there's art. I love art. I have a passion for art. That's an understatement. This is actually pretty large. It's a pretty large, well, I don't know, 30 inches, something like that. It would be more than enough for a nice loaf of bread, maybe. But yes, this is more work. This was an early work for my ceramics, and this was a humbaba. And interestingly enough, this was done when my husband was going through a colon cancer. He's a survivor. I even have a cancer in art lecture. But Humbaba is an intestine face god, so I guess on some subliminal level, I thought that was something that I should do. And so, indeed, I did make this in a Saddleback course as well. And so, this is intestine face god. It's supposed to scare away evil spirits. Couldn't hurt. And so, in any case, Humbaba is actually from the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's a very old, very old literature. Pregnant teapot. Um, a lot, my work, my research was on Alice Neel and why are there no pregnant nudes in art, or very few anyway. There are a number of images of the Virgin Mary, but there are not a tremendous amount of pregnant women in art. And so this was something that I ended up writing on a PDF that's about 125 pages long, so I had a lot to say. And so this is was also one of the kind of fun offshoots of when I was immersed in all of that Alice Neel and her pregnant nudes. Um, it was something that I started doing was these teapots, and I think I did about three of them. One I know is at my mom's house, and I did another one, and I don't know where the other one is. And this is Nancy Neel and the baby, and I think this was her first child, and this was Olivia, and this is by Alice Neel. And what I love about Alice Neel is this is not Mary Cassatt. Alice Neel, the mothers look ragged, they look tired, they look stressed. Life's not always perfect, and you see that in Alice Neel. Um, so this is her daughter-in-law, Nancy Neel, and she posed for Alice Neel when she was over 8 months pregnant. The portrait behind her is actually Alice Neel's son, her son Richard, and so she posed right before she had twins, and I ended up talking with her a long time and actually recorded the conversation, and it's pretty interesting. It's like, I had a really great mother-in-law. My second one, not so good, but my first mother-in-law was pretty fabulous. And in any case, I don't know that I would have been willing to pose for my mother-in-law if she wanted to paint me nude. I think that takes a really special relationship. And she did. She was very matter of fact about it. Alice Neal asked, I said, okay. But I love this quote. If your kids are giving you a headache, follow the directions on the aspirin, especially the part that says, keep away from children. So again, motherhood can be great, but it can also be hard. This is Couple on the Train. This was on display at the Orange County Museum of Art, and you can see the slash marks in it. Alice Neal had a really, really bad boyfriend, and in any case, he destroyed many of her works and indeed slashed this really sweet one. And this was an early example of her pregnant women. But again, Alice Neal will be one that you'll probably hear about. This is a very large-scale work that I did, and it took a while. I worked off and on this one for months. And if you look in the background, it's dark on one side and it's lighter on the other. And it was actually done over COVID. And this idea of this heaviness going to lightness was very intentional. But I do have a thing about trees as well. I love trees. Should do a lecture on trees, actually. And then this is almost done. In fact, I hope to finish it today or tomorrow before the semester starts. And so for fall. So I haven't named it yet. I'll have to think of something. But I just have a few more details to add, but it's almost there. So I hope to hear from you. Again, use that discussion link in Canvas. Click on that. And also email. I'm pretty good at responding via email. And have a great semester. Thank you.